Recording now. Okay, there's Miss Lorelei.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, we're gonna do the One Block Wonder panel quilt. And the One Block Wonder panel quilt, this book is not a pattern book.
No.
This book is a technique book. So while it gives you a lot of great information in here, it is not going to give you a pattern. So it's not going to say, cut this much, do that, do the other, put these many in a row. It's not going to do that. It's going to give you examples of how you could do it. And it's going to tell you technique-wise how you can do it. Okay, so we're going to work on this variety, which is where we're appliquing our hexes onto our 7th panel. So this one, here's another option you could do. You could square your panel off and square your hexagons off and just put them on either side. So there's different ways that you can do this, and all of this information is in the book, but there is no, see how they just squared that one off? There is no pattern per se. See, this one is also, it's squared off, but it's also, she's appliqued some on.
The one over here.
The one over there, we're appliquing. This one is appliqued on, so you can see some coming up into the panel. Okay, so that's the variety that we're gonna do. This one has got some appliqued on. So we're doing that variety as opposed to the purely squared off version. But you could do either way. So,
Well, and you can also do whole quilts
yes,
with doing
just
this
one big fabric, yeah. And we've done that before. We
We
did that
have.
with the
Yenter.
Michael Miller, the poinsettia.
Yes, yeah.
And it was a beautiful quilt.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're not going to cut 7 more panels up because we've already got one going. Here, I'll show it that. So this is the one that we're working on, this one right here. And we're going to get this one put together today and show you how to actually put it together. But we're going to use just a big focal fabric right now. But what you would do if you were doing this with 7 panels is you would take one panel and set it to the side. Then you're going to take the 6 panels and you're going to line them up on top of one another, and you're going to very carefully use pins, and you're going to go, okay, I'm going to line up this bottom of this tire, and you're going to line up all 7 panels, six, I'm sorry, all 6 panels, and you're going to make sure that all of the tires are right there. Pin them together, and then you're going to go over here and you're going to make sure all the little, what is that? Tassel? All the little tassels on pom-pom, all the little pom-poms on the hats are lined up. And you're going to line them up all the way through the panel and make sure that the panels are identical. And then you're going to cut them into strips. Lorelei, would you like to talk about the strips?
Yeah, well, the strip, you will cut a certain width of the strip, and you'll cut that throughout that whole panel.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to make sure that you're going to look at the repeat. So like here is let's go up here.
It's here.
Here.
Yeah. So, oh no, here. Here's the car. Here's the car. It's this much. That's a repeat.
Yeah. There's the repeat. And so you would cut your strips to the repeat, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
It depends on how big your
Right
design is.
The one that we did with that was the whole quilt. We did like that.
Yeah, it was a smaller design than this.
Still, if you could decide where you want that repeat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then
so on this one, I would probably go like that. And I'm gonna get these cars. And then the next one, I'm gonna get these cars. And then the next one, I'm gonna get
Right.
these cars. So that would be about a,
3 and 3, about 1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah, like a
4
4-inch strip. So you have to decide how big of a cut you want. Now, that being said, the smaller,
The smaller the cut, it's easier to.
the more pieces you're gonna
Yeah,
piece.
right.
So the smaller the cut, the more hexagons you're gonna make. The bigger the cut, the less hexagons you're gonna make. So it depends on how distorted. Do you wanna recognize cars? If you want to recognize cars in your hexagons, then you wanna make a
want it
bigger
bigger.
cut. If you want it to look kaleidoscope and you don't wanna necessarily tell that that's a car, you would do smaller.
So if you look at that one over there.
Yeah, let's go look at this one.
That one was done, I wanna say we cut.
So here we have our panel. And you can see that this right here is these. So here is like the top of his head is here. And that's what hexagon that made. I think if I'm not mistaken, we cut these at 4.5.
Was it 4? I was saying 4 for it, yeah.
I'm pretty sure these particular ones were cut at 4.5, but you can see what that does with your colors.
Having, you're gonna end up with triangles that you're going to put together.
Yeah. So let's do some cutting. All right, so when you cut your fabric, let's do this at 4.5.
4.5?
Because we did the other one at 4.5. Let's do this one at 4.5.
Well, let me.
So, yep, she's gonna straighten up the end. Right there.
Does that look right? I think so.
Yes.
One, two, three, 4.
Okay, now we're only cutting 2 layers of fabric at once right now. But
Right,
to do this properly, we would need to have this exact repeat
underneath.
6 times.
Yes.
So when you do your panels, it's gonna be this width. Well, I guess if you have a yard wide panel, it'll be wider, but it'll be the width of the panel. You're gonna cut single layer. You are not gonna cut multiple with it folded, because then you're not getting the, when you cut
Well,
your
you won't-
triangles, you won't get the same thing.
Underneath is not the same thing.
Right,
So.
but your panel will be, because your
Yeah.
panel will be open.
Right.
Okay, so you're gonna cut 6 layers of the panel and you'll have 6 identical pieces. So when we do our triangle, you'll have 6 of them that look like that. And then 6 of them that look like, oh, they'll have a
Will be
horse in
the
them, cool.
opposite.
6 of them that would look like that with the horse in it. And then 6 of them that look like this with the, another horse in it.
Would it be better if we went ahead and cut some yardage and then opened it up?
Yeah, why don't we? Let's go ahead and get your 4.5 on this, and then we'll lay it, we'll show you how to do it with a fabric. How about that?
Right.
That is 3.5. Okay, so if you're doing a fabric with a weird repeat, here is what you're gonna do. You're gonna take this, and like I said with the panel, you're gonna bring this up here and you're gonna line this up exactly with that piece underneath. So we have our tire right here.
There's your tire here.
Okay, and we've got the hood of our car, so we're going across.
So
And
I
then you're
can
gonna
go-
pin it. Wow, that focus is off. What happened? I'll walk over here, see if I can get focus again. What the heck just happened? Okay, let's go closer. Wow, I have to get really close to get focus now. I don't know what just happened. It was a zoom thing. Oops, it moved up here. Okay, there. Let me see here. Kathy Barks. I have to turn my phone on.
So I'm lifting this
Just to make sure that we're getting that.
right on there.
Yeah. Now, let's see this. It has to go back up here like this. And fabric is stretchable and movable and all that other kind of stuff. So if it's not absolutely identical, you don't have to stress about it. Just get it as close as you can. Okay, and then once all of that is pinned in place, we're going to cut that, and then we're going to do that till we have 6 repeats. Now, if this were the panel, obviously we would have the entire piece of
Right.
fabric lined up, and you'd be doing the entire panel, all 6 of them.
That looks good to me. Does
Yep,
that?
it looks good to me too.
Do you have anybody on there?
Yes,
You do.
yes.
Terry's having issues with the link and getting connected.
It's a link on her and Kathy's on.
Kathy Johnson,
Uh-huh. I sent the same email to everybody.
I look at the email.
Mhm.
So I can go ahead and cut?
Yep.
So we're gonna cut this strip. And I will tell you, oops, that they call them flower pins.
Mm-hmm.
And they really help because they lay flat where these pins are sticking up.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes it, I'm gonna just butt this up against so I'm not on those pins.
Mm-hmm.
But the flower head pins work well because when you're pinning this, they lay flat down and it doesn't
Yeah.
shift your ruler.
Okay, and now keep in mind, I keep saying this in case somebody forgets. If this were the panel, we would have all 6 of them lined up and we would be making cut, 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 cut. You would not waste any fabric. We're just doing this with this fabric because we didn't want to cut 7 more panels apart. Butt it up here.
Yeah.
It's being a butthead.
It is. But and what's nice is because I can cut both ways, so
Yeah, Lori's ambidextrous.
there we go.
She's very fancy. Okay, now we have to do that 4 more times.
All right. So is that we can do it here? This looks pretty good.
No, we gotta go, we gotta
Oh, we're
do,
gonna do the 4.
we have to have
again.
6 of these.
Okay, so
So we're lining it up again. And again, the only reason we're doing this is because we're using a regular fabric. On your panels, you're gonna line up all 6 of your panels
at one time.
at one time to begin with. I have froggy. Froggy
Got
in
some
my throat.
frogs going on.
I got frogs in my throat.
So I'm just picking out a place. Looks good.
Yep.
I can remember doing that one by Yenter, is it Yenter?
Jason Yenter, uh-huh.
And, oh God, I just fretted over making sure that it was just perfect.
Yeah, but
And,
by the time you get them together,
yeah,
nobody knows the difference.
nobody.
Well, you do, but
I do, and I'm my worst enemy, so.
I think we're all that.
See how I'm lifting up
Mm-hmm.
and I see right where I want to be? And I have that needle, that pin going straight up and down. And then, because if I was to angle this and
Yeah.
then try, no, you have to keep that.
It'll pull it away.
Yep, you have to keep it straight up and down.
That's a good point, yeah. Get it? Ah, it's a good point. Yeah,
Now I
we're
get-
slow.
Okay, let's see. Now we could do, how about if we look at his head?
There you go. It's a little guy riding a horse.
Yep. So straight up and down and come down, drop it and pin it.
Okay.
Do a couple more. We'll do, how about if we do this little cloud right there? Right on.
So she shouldn't have to put anything in. She should just click the link.
It doesn't take her directly to, it like takes her to a, like a opening page of.
Right, where she has to sign in.
Sign in.
Yes, she has to sign in. Okay. And go ahead and here, it's over here.
All right, so I'm just gonna butt this up against it. It seems to work about the best.
Well, and it wouldn't distort your,
Right, and I'm doing it because of these pins. These pins tend to.
now, if we were gonna make a whole thing out of just this print, this piece right here should theoretically be lined up exactly the same as well. So if you were doing just a large piece of fabric, you know, a yard or a couple yards or whatever of a piece of fabric, if once you get one piece lined up, the rest of it's going to line up as well. So
You can see that this car is
right over that car. Yep. I don't think any way she does it, she's going to get in if she doesn't sign in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It gives her an option to log in or join, not log, join. What's the two options here?
So try join. Then she has to log in.
Join or host. So yeah, join. And then I wonder.
Okay. There you go. This is piece number 4. So we got to do this, what?
2 more times.
Mhm.
Is this 4?
Mhm.
No, this is 3.
Mm-mm.
3.
You have 3. This is 4.
Theoretically, I could take this one off.
Yeah, and just do
and
the
just
top,
Do, so
It'd be
that you
easier.
don't have that many layers.
your bulk. Yeah. So just do your top one.
So I can go ahead.
Come down. To there. Yep.
This needs to come down like that.
There we go.
So you're just looking to line up. See how that tire is,
Overlapped, yeah.
all right, let's see.
There's your pins.
Okay. See how I'm right?
Perfect. And the pin is straight up and
Straight
down.
up and down. I'm gonna bring it and I'm going to just pin it. Now we'll go to, let's do, hmm, let's do this guy, this head. Now I'm gonna do this horse head.
The horse head.
Straight up and down. And it's right on. Oh, these pins bend.
These are the extra fines. I love them. They don't distort.
Right.
This one I can see it's lined up, so I didn't do anything. I just
That one's
pinned it.
lined up right there. Okay, I'll do one more up here. You got it?
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Dollars other homes will probably get a field record storm that's been denigrated to a shallow planet. Just one on the
Okay.
how to start that. You have to go.
Okay.
So the thing is that remember, this is just fabric,
Yep.
and if you make a mistake, oh well.
You're probably not gonna use all the hexagons you
No,
cut out of those
No,
panels
you
anyway.
probably won't.
We did not on ours. Okay. Okay,
Okay, how many more?
this is gonna be 5. Right? 1, 2,
Four.
3, 4. Yep.
5.
So you gotta do 2 more.
So there is some waste,
Well, there
Well,
won't be on the
but there
panels.
won't be on the panel, yeah.
Yeah, there is on this, but there won't be on the
And,
panels.
and again, like we said, we've got these that match up. If you go out a little bit crazy and. All right, so let's go ahead and that's a little off there. Oh, it's Tina's birthday today.
Yes, it is. She's out and about.
She's out and about.
Yes, she's gone out of town.
Uh, okay. That could be there. That matches there.
And just pulled his arm in.
Okay. Let's just see this hat.
That looks really good right there.
I think we got it.
Okay.
See how much more confident you get as you're doing it? You're upside down, aren't you?
Oopsies. It's not non-slip when it's on the slippery side.
Look good to you?
Mhm.
I watched Hush, Sweet Charlotte last night with
Mm.
Davis.
Classic.
How many do we have now?
One more. You need one more.
One more, okay.
We have one more than the last time you axed. Okay, I'm gonna get, because I'm gonna need two hands. So I'm gonna get this. To do. Okay. All right, this is pointed now. Right at you. I'm gonna go take that other one off. I'm gonna turn the iron on. Oh, okay. Look at our cute little cakes. And they're cute.
That is cute. Did you do a pillowcase class?
And look, it's a watermelon
Wow.
and fireflies. We've been making pillowcases.
Did you, do we have pillows that size?
Yeah, we got 3 of them in there. We're on a pillow.
So that's a
now.
nice, travel.
It's perfect for travel. Yeah, absolutely. I rewrote the pillowcase patterns because it was terrible what we were using.
Yeah.
So I rewrote it and I put the travel size and the standard size on the same pattern.
Oh, nice.
So we have a better pattern to use now.
Okay.
Okay, now, when we get to cutting these into triangles, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that in this book, she says not to use the ones with the topped off point.
That might be true. I'm trying to remember what I did on that.
Yep, and I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. And I used the one, here it is, right here. So she used the Clearview Triangle 6-inch acrylic ruler. They're too basic, those with a pointed tip, those without. There's a big difference between the two, she says. On a 3 3/4 inch strip, using a ruler with a tip truly makes a 3 3/4 inch triangle, she says. If you line up the 3 3/4 line of a blunt tip ruler with the cut edge of the strip, you'll get a 4-inch triangle, not 3 3/4. I have not found that to be the case. So the Quilter Select ruler is marked properly.
Has the blunt on
It
it.
has the blunt tip, but it's marked properly. So if you're doing the 3 3/4 line, you're getting a 3 3/4. So I'm not sure which ruler she was using that
Right.
she got the difference. But if you're using the Quilter Select or the Creative Grids, it comes out correctly. Maybe she was using that, oh, what's that one they used to sell at Joann's? Lazy Angle and the whatever, and that brand. I can't remember.
Now, do we need any more of this? I don't can't.
We do not.
Okay.
We do not.
Didn't you do this at a retreat too?
I think so.
I think you did. I think you guys did.
Yeah, I think we did. Where's the Quilter Select one? Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. So here are the Creative Grids and the Quilter Select one. So if we measure this difference, that's correct. So if we measure these, this is correct. These are our two different rulers. We're going to use the Quilter Select because it's not going to slip around, and that's kind of important on these strips.
Now, if they don't have a Quilter Select, what can they do to make the ruler not slip?
Grippy. Use the grippy.
And sometimes, if this starts wearing off,
Grippy.
grippy.
We're big into our grippy. Done. Okay, I'm gonna iron these, okay? Except it, still not quite on. Oh, you know, we should tell them. I know what we should tell them.
What should we tell them?
One block wonder, pattern, visualizer thingy.
Oh, the mirrors, the mirror thing.
No, it's, did you not know about this?
Uh-uh.
So I can't do it because where's your phone? Here, make that go onto a web browser. Okay. 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 If you go to oneblockwonder.com, and you go into the, where's the design it thing? Oh, here. Design helper. You'll get this little box right here. And here, this will be, I can take a bigger picture of this. You'll go right here, choose local image, take photo. And I will go like that. Use photo. And it's doing its thing. Didn't I do it? Thought I did it. Use photo. Oh, I'm an idiot. So there's my photo. And then I have to tell it how big of a,
Triangle?
width of image is going to be, how wide is that? 6 inches? Call it 8 inches. Edge size, call it 8 inches. And then we go make hexes. And it won't let me do that small. Okay, let's try 40. We'll put it back to 48. Okay, so there it shows you how you would cut it. And here it shows you what you're going to get. That fun? So you'll see what your hexes are going to look like based on where you cut it. Now, I just took a picture of this little bitty piece of the fabric. Where's the bolt? Let me take a whole. Let's go back to take photo. Let me take a picture of the whole thing. Okay, use photo. And then I have to go down here and tell it, we're going to do the same thing, make hexes. And there it's showing us how to cut it. And look at what I get there with all of that different variation in that fabric. Cool. So that's really a lot of fun. So again, you're going to go to oneblockwonder.com and then you go into design it, design helper. And it's free. I mean, it's just on the web. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now, now you got your panels, your 6 panels are cut into strips. So now what you have to do is you have to come in and you're going to cut them into your triangles. So you're being real careful to keep your strips in order, not in order, in lined up properly. So just be real careful. Line them up. Make sure everything is still where it's supposed to be. I can't reach over there. Oops. Go up. Up. And these look real good. If you were cutting your 6 panels at one time, these would already still be lined up. You would not take your pins out. Leave your pins in when you cut those. Okay, so we're gonna just kind of pin kind of randomly right along the width of this. Okay. And then the only other thing you got to do is take your triangle ruler and cut. So I'm going to come down this way so they can see it right way up.
All right. So let's go ahead and start this at this end.
Okay. So you're going to line your triangle up.
4-inch, right?
Well, we
4 and
cut
a
the
half.
strip, the whole thing you're going to do. So line
and a
all the
half.
way. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna take this pin out because it's bugging me.
Your way.
So 4.5.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna move it over a little bit so that I don't have
Selvage.
selvages. I'm gonna move it a little bit more. Okay. No, I can't do that. Change your hand, Lori.
And use a good blade when you do this.
Yes.
I
Okay.
think the blue one is actually better. Okay, and then when you get each set of triangles cut, pin them together, because if you cut these and throw them in a basket, you're gonna have a heck of a time matching them back up later. So pin your sets of 6 together.
And you're gonna turn your ruler upside down, lining up my lines.
If that one's not good, I'll go get another blade. That didn't sound good.
Mm-mm.
All right, I'll go get that.
So really imperative that you, so look at, can you see that how they're all these, that's what's gonna be in the center. And all of this is gonna be on the outside. Pretty cool. All right, now I can go this way. 4.5. Lining up everything. And look how that, all those tires and. And we can, I'm gonna take this pin out. They don't leave me alone, and I forgot to turn my phone off. Papa's home, she can talk to him.
Which one's the worst one? This one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Let me get a new one on there. So I was just telling Anna, I was listening to the radio on the way in today,
Uh-huh,
and it was on Sirius XM. And there was a young lady that came on to do a promo,
okay.
and she said, tune in to our newest channel, Classic Rock. You're going to listen to Alice Cooper's new channel, Unwell. Turn into her channel.
Alice Cooper's a guy.
This young lady did not know that.
Yeah.
That I was listening, it was on Sirius XM before. I was listening and somebody said something about Lindsey Buckingham being a she. Like, oh, I'm old.
Yes, we are.
Like, oh, no.
Oh, how nice a fresh blade is.
And I knew that I was cutting yesterday and I meant to change it yesterday and I forgot. Hello, what you looking for? I wanted to measure. Oh.
So you're gonna go and you're going to do this all the way down. I'm a
It's in the way.
little bit.
There.
If you have to clean up
Mm-hmm.
that edge a little bit, that's okay. It's a little bit, it seems like it's a little bit off right in here.
And that can happen. I mean, things shift. It's fabric. No big deal. Perfect is the enemy of done. Okay.
And it's just flipping this ruler back and forth.
You're gonna be cutting a whole heck of a lot of triangles.
Yep.
Oops, in those. Oh, almost made a mistake. Oh no. Tune into her channel. Oh, seriously.
Bless their heart.
The bigger problem with that is this gal recorded this. Somebody else turned it into an ad and
Oh.
they've been playing.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's not just one person.
Yeah.
How old do you feel
Well-
now?
Well,
I felt the same way when I was talking about, I can't remember who, some modern pop chick did a pop song about, what was it? If I loved you, life would be whatever. But she wasn't in love with the person. And she had Lindsey Buckingham doing backup vocals and playing that very distinctive way he plays guitar in her song. And one of the DJs was talking about Lindsey Buckingham as a she. I'm like, oh, oh.
okay.
We're so old. And what are they going to do 50 years from now when they start talking about Megan the Stallion and Dua Lipa and Bad Bunny and all of these other people who have these crazy names? They're not going to know if they're animals or people, let alone what gender they are.
Right.
Crazy.
Okay.
Okay. Now what we do? Now what we do, Lori?
We're gonna put these together.
Okay, are you a proponent of seams open or seams closed?
I can be both. Honestly, it depends on what I'm
What'd we do with this?
seeing close.
We did closed.
Yeah, so I mean, it's for me, I see the benefit. A lot of times when you're putting these and you got the center, if you open that, it tends to lay nicer.
Yeah.
But I think those laid,
They do have lumps.
Yeah.
Right in the center.
yeah, so I think you just see what works the best.
Shall we go to the sewing machine?
I was just gonna put this together just to show them how.
How fun is that? Okay, that is a fun use of this car fabric, I have to say.
Yeah, it really is.
Look at that, isn't that fun? Oh, look at this one. This one would be engines
Yeah,
all the way around, or
yeah, so,
trunks.
so
hoods.
I say, so sections.
You have to sew them in halves. You have to leave them in halves. And the reason you have to leave them in halves is because if you look right here, we've got a straight seam going up this one. This side of the panel and the top of the panel, we have a straight seam. So the only way to get this straight seam, unless you were to cut off your hexagons, is to leave them in halves, and then you sew together your rows in halves. So let's go ahead and sew a couple hexagons together, and let's talk about how that would work. Let's see. Come over like this. and I'll iron them as you do them.
Okay, you want it, okay, that's fine.
As you do them. I don't want you running back and forth.
You're not a good runner back and forth.
I'm not a good runner back and forth. I guess 73 years old has made me not a good runner and a broken foot. It did.
Yeah.
By the way, Lindsay came over yesterday and Lindsay has tore the ACL
Yes.
across her knee.
That's supposed to be
The
scary. Meniscus.
meniscus she's torn and she has a fractured tibia.
Oh, my God.
She was on, Lindsay has forgotten that she's maybe shouldn't get on a hoverboard.
Hmm.
She's done a lot of damage.
Oh, my gosh. That's gotta be painful.
Yeah. So she's in for major operations and he told her, he says, you're looking at at least a year long
Yes, that's a long recovery.
recovery. So, okay, I'm gonna sew these at a 1/4 inch.
Remember, I've got the heel kick was turned on.
Oh, and you've got the, okay, let's see, let's go in here, let's go here.
You want it to stay down?
Uh-huh,
You don't want it to come up at all?
uh-uh.
And then you dag nabbit. And
I
you
want
don't
it-
want the,
Heel kick on, which would be down here. And take that off. There we go.
okay,
Okay, let me just see one more thing.
and I have to go back, turn it all back on.
Yes, you do. I don't want the knot on, okay. Um,
Yeah,
you've
and-
got the hover on, right? Well, we
Oh, I took
need,
it off.
okay, but we probably need it because I don't have the knee lift.
Oh,
So, okay.
I don't, I do have the new left.
Oh, this is puckering again. Let me see. Okay. So when you're when you're working with points, a lot of times I think starting with a leader really helps.
Use my new, that's from R and K,
This?
Filter Select. It's a point turner, but you could use that as a nice select too.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll go with that and just see where we are. Okay, I'm gonna take this and I'm going to add this one here. Oh, that's too much hassle. So there is one. Put that over there. And we'll put the second one together. Just lining up the edges.
Yeah. So this lady must be from.
Oh, yes.
She wants to know what. Something that's even pre-orders and, see it on, when I saw it's designed, I haven't made it yet, I'm trying. Okay. I'm behind on everything.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we're
I'm gonna
gonna
do open.
open, okay. Oh, I turned them to the back.
I'm gonna do close.
Okay.
So when you have them done in the two pairs, you're gonna go back in there and you're gonna take those pins and pin them together so that you don't have them all rifled up together in your basket
And
because
so-
you got a lot of hexagons to sew.
So they are going to do that with all
All of
that
them.
whole pile of hexes.
So maybe make, I don't know, a few more.
You want me to do a couple more?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Get this ready to,
Do you want me to continue with the closed?
yeah, you may as well, yeah,
Okay.
started that right.
It is so much easier to have that point squared off when you're sewing. I'm just gonna kind of chain stitch a little bit where I can. Okay. Now I can't do these last two because they have to go on these two. So I am pressing this to the left. Away from the center one, and we'll do the same thing. See, this isn't as hard as people think it is. And when the finished quilt top is done, people are amazed. They just cannot understand how you did that. Remember, you ladies, with your 770 or 790, or this is the 880. This is a 9mm machine. And so, and I'll show you what I mean when I do this next one. But when I'm coming down to the end of the stitching, I am putting my my finger right up next to the foot, which keeps it from veering off.
What we did with the extra pieces from the top?
I have no idea. Do we need more pieces?
Well, to fill this top part in, we do, yes.
They should have been over there by it, but. Okay, now watch what I'm going to do. I'm getting closer to that edge. I'm gonna hold my finger down right next to that foot and guiding it. And it keeps that foot from wanting to jut off. Did we put them? Did we put them in that big case before Joe took it?
No.
No.
I cleaned that out. You know what, though? We did have that.
Again, pressing away from the center triangle.
Oh, no.
Where were they?
That bin where we have a whole bunch of partially finished things. And of course,
Imagine that. So I think you guys should get the idea here. I mean, watching me do this is like watching paint dry. And you're going to do that with every set of triangles that you have.
Okay, so what we did not talk about was the end pieces.
Okay. Oh, yeah, well, they're
Yeah.
not triangle. They're,
These guys.
yeah,
So are those sewn together?
these
I'll
are
go iron these if you want to talk
all
about
three of
these.
these. So this is what squares up
Yeah,
the top and and the edges, because with you're gonna have uneven. So as you sew these on, it'll because some of them they are going to be. Well, I'm gonna need Lisa to explain this better because that one's off. Okay. See how they're not full triangles. I'm gonna let you explain this because I don't have the words to explain it.
ruh-roh. Okay, so at each end of the strips that you're cutting, you're gonna lose the squared off part because a triangle obviously
Ri-
is 60
Right,
degrees. So this would be well, you cut your selvage off first, and then this would be the end. So if I put that up against one of these, this is what was cut off.
So it squares that
Right.
piece.
You want to save these because, and we're going to show you that next, because I just dug out all the stuff to do it with, because you have to square off the outer edges of your quilt.
Which I can show, we can show them on this one.
Okay. So,
We want to move this over here.
I think so. I got it all set up now.
Okay, I'm gonna move you guys. Shut your eyes.
Okay. These, because this was a big panel,
Can they see?
I don't know. Or here, that's what they can see. There. So this, look at how many of these I have left. Because this was a big panel. So we had an absolute ton of the, oh, look at that with the eyeballs.
Yeah, neat.
I had a ton, that one's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I had a ton of these left over. We decided to stay right about this size. I could just add rows. Once we get this center part done, I could take all of these and just randomly add rows to make this bigger. But theoretically, this could be as big as, I'm looking at all these, holy cow. I could probably make this as big as a queen size quilt if I chose to. Ooh, that one's pretty. I think that's his tail. Oh no, it's his leg. It's his leg. Cool. So we have all of these pieces left that I could make this bigger. That's only two of those. And some of them we've used. Oh no, that is two of those. It's only one of those. Must have used that somewhere. This is just all mixed up. Must have used that somewhere. There's two, there's two. So I can go in here and there's the other one of that one. Yeah. I can go in here and take all of these and I can, oh, there's his
There's
nose.
his nose. Huh.
Oh, look at how fun that is. Look at his nose. Or they can't see it. Nose. So anyway, I can go in here and I can take all of these pieces that we have left. Once we get our center figured out, now we don't want to make this thing huge before you figure out how you're going to put that center together because it's going to be kind of unwieldy. So what we've done here, and I can do that later. What we've done here is we have taken, are these singles? No. Good grief, I've got a ton left. We could make this into a really big quilt. Good grief. Big, big, big. I have an absolute ton left. Okay, these we used like one of. So they're not going to do us any good. I got two. No, I got one of that. I have two or one?
One.
One. Yeah, these are all onesies where we've used part of it over here. So let's talk about how you decide how you're going to get all this put together. So all of these scrappity things you have left over, all of these triangles, you're going to save because you're going to use these to square off your outer edges.
And it would basically be the top edge and the bottom edge.
It'll be all four sides.
No.
No, just top
edge.
and bottom. I'm
Top
sorry,
and
she was right, top and bottom. Okay, so
So what do you do, Lisa, when, if we look at this, we've added these triangles on.
yes, see there?
So you're going to have to go in and find the highest point
And trim all the way
and
across.
trim all the way across so that it's even.
Yeah, now, before we get that far, let's talk about how we put him together. let's see. So if I go up like this, we can see the whole thing like this. Okay. All right. So we started with, here's the panel in the center. We got the panel in the center. And then we decided, okay, the way we're going to do it is we're going to do a straight seam on two sides and applique on two sides. So it looks like he's kind of coming out of all of the hexagons. So for the straight seam on this side and the top, all you do is put your, you can see I've got my hexagons. Let's see, our seams run this way. So we've made this row, then you press it, you make this row, and you match up your pieces. So you're going to have to lay these out. That's why you pin all of these together in pairs. You're going to sew them in rows one at a time. So I would use this one here. And then to make the whole hexagon, when I do the next row, I'm going to take its pair and I'm going to come. I would use this one here, and then I'm going to take the pair and put it in the next row. And then when you sew your rows together, that's when your hexagons become a real hexagon. And then the next row, you've got half hexagons, every other one. This row out here is where you fill the half hexagons, and then you have another half hexagon every other one. So you're kind of rotating row by row. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Well, it does, yeah, does it make sense to the ladies?
I know you guys are going to have to unmute and ask if that didn't make sense. But in effect, we did it lengthwise because you have a longer length, so we could make a longer run. So we did it lengthwise, did a full row coming down, then did the second row, carefully matching up the other half of our hexagons, which is every other piece. Then did the third row, and that's where you, every other piece, you match up those hexagons. And this row, we have hexagons left that are not matched to anything. So if we did want to make this bigger,
We'd have to find those.
I would go through my pile of all of these extras and I would find what I didn't use and I would add it out on this side. So we have more hexagons.
So what they're going to do is they're going to put this row together. Then you're going to match and put this row together, sew that to the row, the
Yep.
first row. Then you're going to do the third row, so matching how you need to match, sew that row onto the two.
Right.
And then you're gonna take those two, those three, and sew it onto the
Yes. Now,
center.
when we said sew it onto the center, we sewed straight up to here and did a partial seam right here.
Right,
Because now we have to make the rows going across the top. So this one didn't have a match. So we start this row with just the match for that. And then we put a single one of these guys down here and a single one up there to turn that into a rectangle. Because that's all the higher we wanted this to be, one row. I'm hoping I'm still making sense.
yeah, I think so.
Okay, so then you're gonna sew this to this, flip it out. Sew this, and you're gonna use all those little half triangles in here to square these off all the way across this. We've left the very last one over there off because we'll show you how you sew that on and then have your partial seam. Then, well, let's just do that. Let's do that.
Okay.
So we're gonna sew our last hexagon with the end caps on it. So it made a square. We're gonna sew the last one of these onto this row. And then we're gonna take our partial seam here and finish it to the edge of the panel. because it's got those hexagon
Right.
end pieces. It's a little longer the other way. Okay, we'll go over here. Okay, so she's got that loose.
See, we have that partial seam right here. We didn't sew that all the way across. Leaving that open so that we can get at this piece.
When you're sewing those together, you're going to be very careful that you're lining up your seam intersections for your hexagons so that everything stays lined up.
It's a little off right there.
That's all right. We can take it up in the other seam.
All right. Here's a good point here. Do you see how this should have, no, that's right. Out, no, but it kind of caught right in there.
Yeah.
This is where your walking foot comes in, right?
Yes, so it doesn't get caught on that lump. Because there are going to be some pretty intense seam intersections
Yeah.
At your hexagons. Okay, let me go press that seam real quick, and then she can show you how you then take your partial seam and finish it off. Close enough for cover color.
You won't see it on a riding horse.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I just pressed the seam. And now all she has to do is take that and line it up along the center and finish our partial seam out to the end.
Maybe this will get done.
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I think it will. Okay, let me go press that. Right back. And then we'll go back over here on the table.
Okay. I'm going to move you guys again.
Okay. So now we have our panel piece. And oh, they're not looking at it. Oh. Okay, we got our panel piece and we have our straight seam going up the side and across the top. Okay, so now we're going to show you how you would add these pieces right here. And we've already started some of this, but we don't have this part done, so we'll keep going over here. So this row would have been complete coming all the way down. It would have stopped right here. And then we have the bottom of the panel is right here. What we are in effect doing is appliquing these hexes over the top of it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your hexes and you're going to just audition and figure out where you want them placed. And once you figure out where you want them placed, you're going to turn under a 1/4 inch and press and pin so that it stays in place.
Now, Lisa, actually, if they didn't want to do that.
If you didn't want to do that, you could just
do this, it could be done.
it could be done. You could just do straight ends on all 4 sides. Yeah, you don't have to do this. But this is part of what is cool in that book is you do have the option to do this. So we want to make sure you know how. Okay, so we go all the way across here and we've got all of these hexagons that we're going to applique pinned in place. Now, when I say applique, we're going to put black thread in the sewing machine and we are going to just top stitch all the way around the edges of these. Just top stitch them down. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna ask, anywhere you specifically want me to start?
All of them.
Just start at the end.
All of them. We didn't get any cooking done yesterday, so we got a lot of cutting to do.
Okay.
Okay, so we've played around with this and we decided that this is how we want this other side to go. Now, we're going this way and you're making rows like this, right? So here is the one we ended with. I have its pair right here. Okay, so these two match up. That's my next row. But then we decided we were going to come up into the branch. And these are all done to applique over the panel. So that is meant to connect up there. So the very first thing we need to do is we're going to connect this. So we've made all of these in rows and we decided where everything was going to go by laying them out on the panel in the design that we thought was pretty. Here's how we're going to connect them. So we have a straight seam right here we're going to connect. So that's the very next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this to the machine and we're going to connect just here to here. Just here to here. And then I'm going to turn this under so we have seam allowance here for our applique. All of this is already turned under. And then we'll show you how to finish off that top. Guys, if I am not making sense, speak up and tell me, let me know what I need to explain better. This is kind of, I mean, there's no pattern is what makes it a little confusing. So it's not like I can tell you, do this, do that, do the other. This is kind of an artistic kind of thing that you're doing. So please speak up and tell me if it doesn't make sense.
Sorry to interrupt.
So you got a lot of fabric here that doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, when you're working on it like this. Because this is the panel itself, that's hanging off.
3/4 for the top, which 3/4 times 12 is 100. Yeah, you need 9 yards to do that, so you're not. No. Okay, so do 6 of each for right now.
And just bring it
Hold on. 6 of each,
large travel.
yes. Or maybe, and maybe 6 large 4 travel.
That was
You do 6 large 4 travel. These also travel rules up.
So I'm sewing this, it looks like.
Fudge it so that your seams line up.
So kind of go down. Because see how it's,
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so, and you're gonna match these seam allowances because those corner pieces were all different sizes. We're gonna be trimming quite a bit off the bottom to make those line up, so don't worry about that. You'll trim that square later, and we'll show you that in just a minute. We'll try to keep your seams lined up.
at least to here.
Yes.
Okay. Should I stop sewing here then? I'm gonna have to.
Finish it all the way out the end. We'll just trim off whatever. That'll give us something to applique to because that's our applique end.
Even though it's not matching.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll go press it. Thinky. We gotta catch that in there. Pull it over.
You want me to pull it over?
Yeah. Yeah, just pull it over.
All right. Or you could take this one off and get a.
Put a bigger one.
Yeah. I think that that would be,
Here's a bigger one. What color is that? Here's a bigger one.
yeah. Let me-
Oh, look, a water bill. Yay.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is this piece that is too small, I'm going to put a bigger piece on. That seam ripper's getting dull.
Is it? Well, I've had it forever.
Okay,
Should
so
get another
I
one.
need to put this on. I think that that's what we need to tell them too, is that there's mirror images of these.
Yes, yes, there are two,
And,
one from
and
one
so
side of the
this
strip.
one
yeah.
does not, this one does not work.
Oh, sorry.
So I need the opposite.
Okay, hold on. I've got. Are these right? Nope, these are the same as that. I need the other way. That won't work?
No, if I sew that on there,
Oh, it won't come down this way.
No,
I mean, we can
uh-uh.
trim the bottom, but it will, okay, hold on. We need the other way. Hold on. Ooh. I don't know if I have the other way in a dark. That may be why we used that one. Nope. Nope. This. I think that's probably why we use that one, because I don't have that in dark. I have skinny ones.
Yeah, because the point needs to be,
Hold on, I'm looking. Oh my goodness, we have 1,000 of them going the other way. I only have skinny ones going that way. A couple of them are marginally bigger.
well, we can trim it, right?
Where's the one you took off?
Right here.
See if I've got anything bigger than that. They're all this size.
Shoot.
This one's maybe an eighth of an inch wider. Wait. Wait.
That's quite a bit bigger.
This is bigger. Try this one.
Okay. Wait a minute.
How odd that all of the real big ones are facing the other way.
All right, let's see if I can get this on here.
Better
Oh,
marginally.
I think it is. We're just gonna have to, it's not gonna line up.
I'm not worried about the bottom, just the sides.
I mean, it's a little bit off, but So you're gonna have kind of a anxiety when you see the edges not lining up, and that's okay, because we will square it up. Okay,
Yeah,
you
no big
want
deal.
it to go back over on the table then?
Let me press it. And then I'll bring it over to the table.
Yeah, and then that can just press out a little.
Perfect, perfect. That's what we needed, perfect. I did order black, are we out? Okay, awesome. I think I did order it, but. And I'm out of water in the iron, so, of course. All right. So we're connected, and then here's our panel is under here. So it's really good if you have a large space to work on for this, so that you can lay this out real flat and nice.
Oh, this one needs to be.
Pressed. Yeah.
pressed.
Okay, so our next step here is gonna be, because this was our seam, is we're gonna take this and turn that under and kind of finger press it in place, and then I will take it to the iron, which I can put more water in.
Yes, I have to see how many we sold of those.
Why? We only sold like 2 for the night before, maybe 2, but no minis, I don't think. All right. Okay, now, once you get all this on here, and again, this is important to have that flat surface, because what you want to do is you want to kind of press this out with your hand and make sure you don't have any bubbles. And we're going to carefully pin this in place all the way around. So we have turned under our quarter edge seam allowance on all these pieces that we're appliquing onto this. And we want to make sure that we don't have big bubbles anywhere. We want to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be.
You want your pins to be going kind of in the same direction.
I would think, yeah. Are we on the same seam? So we came down here. That's the seam we just put together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we'll come all the way up to here, and I pressed that down, I shouldn't have. So this is actually gonna sew onto that. And then we're gonna add, well, we're not gonna do it right now. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go ahead and pin down all of our applique pieces where we need them to be.
Will some of this quilt out?
Yeah, it'll go. Well, that, and we've got it kind of pushed. Yeah, it'll be fine. That doesn't help that that's on there either. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, so we've put together our pieces that we wanted to applique on, and it's important that you keep, if I stand down here and I look, I'm straight up my panel, so it's important to keep that lined up straight, otherwise you're gonna get cockeyed off of your panel. The one thing we could do is we could pull that just a little under.
Cause you're gonna cut that panel away.
From the back, yes.
So if you have to get some of the bubbling out, just pull it in.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put black thread in the machine in the top and the bobbin. Do I have a black bobbin? Well, I got a navy bobbin, that's probably just as good as
Maybe you'll be fine.
navy bobbin. Okay. So we're gonna top stitch all of that in place right up to here. And this is where I'm then gonna flip out this seam allowance and we're gonna sew this to this, and that'll attach that up there. And we gotta add 3 more pieces at the top here to finish that off. So I'll find our 3 pieces. So I'll bring these over here. And do that one. That one, and then I need one to Lori's point going the other way. So I will use this one in here. Okay, so these are gonna go down in this V here. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sew these 2 together, and then you can just drip, drip right down in there. And then this one is gonna go to this. Like so. FYI, that needle threader never works.
I know. I didn't even try it.
These are all little. Ooh, wait. That one's bigger.
Would it be easier, Lisa, to maybe start stitching that around and then add those pieces?
Say what?
Would it be easier to what we have pinned down, to stitch the applique on right now
Yes.
and then add those pieces?
Yes, we're gonna do the applique first, because then if there's any bubbling or anything, we can kind of
We can,
adjust.
yes.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that over to the table, and this is gonna be kind of a pain.
I know.
And she's just gonna top stitch right along the edges that we've pinned in place, all the way along, keeping the raw edges turned under, until we get up to the end of this last piece, and I'm gonna put a pin at a T right here. So you know to stop here. So we're gonna come right up to here.
I'm
Top
actually gonna
stitching.
start there. That's where
Okay.
I will start.
She'll start here. So she's gonna start here and go all the way around. And then we're gonna come back, press everything real well, add these end pieces, and then stitch out. Okay.
Okay. All righty.
Right there, that side. I'll get the camera. Okay, here we go.
So I'm just gonna kind of lay this in my lap. Take my shoe off.
Okay, there she goes.
Oh, you,
What?
nothing. Come on, threaded. I wanted to say bad words. What are you doing? Stop that.
That one wasn't my fault. We turned off the
Yep, I
back
know.
neck.
Do you think that we should lengthen the stitch length or just
Maybe a little,
maybe to 7.5?
yeah. Yeah, maybe a little.
All right, so I just lengthened the stitch length. And I am going to use, let me see. I don't want to do that. I think that. Nope, that's what I'm going to do. So on our 97 D foot, I am using that very inner edge as my guide. That's what's I'm running along the folded edge.
That's 1/8 of an inch.
Yep. So this is a slow process. You're going to be maneuvering your quilt around.
How long has this quilt been hanging on that wall?
Oh my God. My foot hadn't been broke. That's been 2 years.
Yeah. Ah. Ah. That's just nuts.
What?
I said, that's just nuts.
It is. It's called procrastination.
And it's gonna be so pretty when it's done. I think.
Well, how many people have commented on it?
Yeah, oh, like a
It's
billion.
constant. They'll see it there. Oh my gosh, is that beautiful?
Yeah, well, wait till they see it actually done.
They'll probably send us a present.
Finally.
Congratulations.
I have, oh God, when was she here for that? January? Was she here in January?
Who?
Liz, when was she here? And she was painting her bedroom and decided she wanted a new quilt. We picked fabric for it. And she wants a real simple quilt.
Oh,
And it's all cut. I just need to sew it together. And it's sitting in a bag at home. I haven't touched it.
This $350 gift card needs to be sold.
Or just correct on an invoice. Yes, please. This is gonna be cool.
can they see the edge that I'm using?
I don't know, but I'll make.
I am using the little edge right here. Right there, not this one. And that allows you to just stop it, top stitch right on the edge.
Okay, when she comes down into this corner, we've turned under seams in two different directions, so she's got kind of a lump in that corner. She's gonna have to be real careful, because it's gonna be a beast to get around. She's gonna be stuck on the lump.
I'm just kind of flattening everything out as I'm going. It didn't hurt. What's this?
It went right over it, didn't it? Well, it's an 880, so it'll go over most stuff.
This is the one that's really,
Nick,
yeah.
whatever, if this machine can make that bag with 2 layers of soft and stable
Yep.
in it, it can do that.
Yes, it can.
I thought the corners on that thing. Oh. 2 layers of soft and stable and turned under corners. So what was that? 4 layers of soft and stable and 8 layers of fabric. Oh. But it did
I
it.
just never forget the time that did that bag class and sold one or two 770s because theirs wouldn't do it.
Yeah, there were people in there with top of the line machines from another brand and it just wouldn't do it.
Would not do it. Think, if I remember right, I dreaded doing this part. It was like, oh, it's going to be such a pain. And it isn't. It's, I don't know what my problem was.
Eh,
Sometimes I think, had a lady tell me one time, Laurie, stop working the pretty off of your project. And so sometimes you work and you work and you work and it just seems like it's forever. And it's just like, it's not even pretty to you anymore.
Mhm.
Uh-oh,
Well,
uh-oh. We have a problem down here, Lisa.
uh-oh. Uh-oh, Basketball. What happened?
Well, it's not wanting to. Okay, see this?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Try pulling it in. That's probably why I would have started at that end and gone out. But oh, Biscuitio. It's okay. We'll make it work. Okay, now take that out. Take all three of these out. Just there you go. There you go. Fudge. It's all in the name of fudge.
it's not as sweet tasting as it fudge could be. Okay, I think we did it, hopefully.
Well, and I'll steam it. So okay, let me take it over to the iron and let me just press the heck out of that.
All righty. So we are using our wonderful Laura Star iron to press and steam this the way that so that it lays so flat.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yep, it's absolutely fine. Okay. Now we've got to straighten off the top because the top of our applique, we hadn't put in these guys yet. So these two have to be sewn together and then they can go boop, boop, and then that one goes boop.
Okay, so boop, boop, and then boop.
Yep. Boop, boop, de boop, boop,
Okay,
boop.
boop, boop here.
Um,
Yeah.
together first.
Oh, together
then-
here.
Then you
Okay.
can do a, yeah.
Then you do the boop.
Doing the boop.
Boop, boop, be doop.
And if you want me to press that, I'll go run and press it real quick. So that's a Y seam. You want it open or over?
Well, I'll see. If I need to tear it out, I will. Tear out.
Because it's gonna go tink, tink.
Ew.
I would do it one way. Just over.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Then I will be right back with that.
Now I can sew this other one on, right? One way or another.
Okay. And then here's your the other one.
Okay, so this goes on like this.
And we could have put those in there before
Right.
we did the rows, but we weren't exactly sure where they were gonna end up, so we had not done that. So as she's doing a Y seam, if she just stops needle down right in that seam intersection, cuts her thread, she can then just pivot that whole piece. So there, she's not gonna cut her thread, she's just gonna pivot. To hell with cutting thread. Yeah, she just pivot around and then finish that right off, and that'll be just absolutely perfect. I'll go press it and it'll lie flat as all get out. And again, we wouldn't have to do that Y seam had we finished those off
Right.
square before we put the rows together. We just weren't sure where they were gonna end up. Et voila. Okay, let me go press it for you. Okay. Then this last seam.
Oh.
Where your applique ended and it goes up.
Okay. Well, I moved the camera. Right.
Okay, oh, where, okay. All right, so we're about to sew this last seam, and this is where the applique ended here. So now we have to just pivot that and sew this seam straight up to finish that being joined. We'll be right back. Because we did the theoretically that should be clear down. Right. But it's not gonna be, we don't care.
Alright.
Doesn't mean the fabric lines up, it's just the hexagons won't.
Right. You're done.
Oh, it copied out, okay. Okay,
It's just a smidge too far. Just a smidge. That'll, yeah, I would leave that. Let me press it and then see what it does. Yeah. And then not wanting to quilt it over time.
Yep, it's fine. Okay.
Okay. Now we've got, hey, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Okay, so we've got her done. So I don't know what that's looking at. We go, let's see, let's go down here. Okay, so what we did. There we go. You see the whole thing now. Okay, so what we did, just to reiterate, 7 panels. Set 1 panel to the side. 6 panels lined up carefully. Take a pin straight through, find something like the end of his whisker, match up all 6 panels exactly on the end of that whisker, pin it together, find the end of his nose for the wherever, find all the different match points, pin them together so they're perfect. Cut it into strips. We did 4.5 inches. So 4.5 inch strips, leaving it pinned together. Take your 60-degree triangle ruler, cut them into 60-degree triangles this way, then this way, then this way, then this way. All the way up and down. Keep the end pieces of your rows, which are half triangles, because you use those to finish the ends with.
These pieces.
Yep, keep these pieces. You need these to make the straight top and the bottom. We pieced our rows going up and down. You could do it side to side, it doesn't matter. But we did it up and down so that we ended up with a full row without any fillers going up and down. If you did it side to side, you would have to put fillers in all the way down.
across.
Yeah. And we didn't want to do that. There's fewer fillers if you do it from up and down. Okay. We just made a straight row. Oh, I skipped a step. You cut all your triangles, then you make your hexagons in 2 halves. As you make your hexagons in your 2 halves, you keep them pinned together so you know which go with which. You lay out 1 row, alternating your pieces. You match with the second piece in the next row. Then you sew them together. That gives you a straight seam top to bottom. Then you do your 3rd row, match every other hexagon with its pair, straight seam. Put your end pieces at the top and the bottom because that squares off the top and the bottom of your quilt. That's how you put on a straight row. Then we put on our applique rows. We decided we wanted to applique our hexagons on top of our quilt. So we laid all of our pieces out on a flat surface and decided where we wanted which colors to go. So it kind of looks like he's just kind of materializing out of all of that stuff over there. Okay, so we appliqued that on the top by folding under the edges and just doing an 1/8 of an inch seam away from the edge of the applique piece, all the way around. Okay, and then we finished off the top by filling off or straightening off the applique pieces at the top and finishing the seam straight across the top. Now we have very uneven edges on the top and the bottom. So now what we have to do is we're going to go line him up on the cutting table and we're going to trim him off so he's even all the way across.
So you're gonna find your smallest piece and that's what you're going to go by.
Yep, shortest piece. So you have to trim all of this down to the shortest piece. So if we're looking at this bottom, you see that bottom? Yeah, you see this one is this one, or maybe that one over there, probably the shortest piece. So we're gonna come through here and trim this even all the way across. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so if we line up our longest pieces with the 5. Okay, then our shortest piece is gonna be, yeah, that right there.
Right here.
So we're gonna
That-
trim all the way
This one's
up.
pretty short too.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start at one end here. Our longest pieces down. Onto that 5. And we'll get our ruler. And we're gonna come right straight across to our short piece. And we're gonna make sure that our ruler is lined up straight with the cutting mat. And then just come right straight across. And then we'll just keep pulling him over here. Keep those long pieces on the 5. And that way we have kind of something to go against. And I'll take our ruler and make sure he's straight with that bottom. Might be a little short right there. But that's okay. I've seen worse. Okay, it's a long piece on the 5. And right straight across. Okay. Then we got to do the same thing to the top. That a pin? Yes, it is. And actually, there's another way we could have done this. So we could have lined up our straight edges on both sides. There. Okay, so we could have lined our straight edges up and done it all in one felt swoop if we wanted to. So we can line our longest piece up, make sure that we're going up and down on the cutting table straight. And our longest pieces are down there. There it is. And then I come across right here and find that shortest piece, which is right there. And then there, we know that's gonna be square at least. Oh dear. Nope. Okay, so it was shorter on the other side. So that's okay. Across this way. And do the same thing. Excuse me. Got a real short piece in there.
Yeah.
Goodness. Have it deal. Oh. Okay. Now we've got it's straight at the top and the bottom. It's finished all the way across the sides. Now, the only thing we have left now is on the back where we appliqued to that panel. You can, well, I don't know if you can see that. I don't, can you see that? How we've got, here's the seam of where our applique went, and there's all this extra fabric back in here. So what we need to do is take a pair of scissors and just cut around so our applique doesn't have a bunch of extra fabric. Which could cause a problem for your long armor. Or it could get turned under sideways and make a big old lump, which you don't want. And just be real careful not to cut the front. And I'm just cutting right along the seam. And I'm feeling underneath there just to make sure I don't get my scissors caught up in a seam allowance and end up cutting my quilt top, which would be fairly disastrous at this point. So I'm just running my fingers underneath just to make sure I don't cut that.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect.
No, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. You just for sure don't want to cut through your quilt top. On this side, I'm holding it up because there's a much bigger piece than I can see. And I gotta do it all the way up. Okay. Sit. Okay. He is done. And he is pretty. He is done and he is pretty. After getting quilted and hung up, we got a bunch more kits left of him, so we need to get him quilted and hung up. He is pretty.
He is pretty. His eyes are so neat.
Yeah, that's the thing with this particular panels. The eyes are pretty. Excuse me. All right. Any questions? We got any questions out there? Anybody? Okay. Well, you can always call us. You know where we are. If you have a question, but I mean, this is not difficult. This is not like,
It's time consuming.
it's time consuming and you're sewing a lot of the exact same pieces over and over and over. But this is not difficult. So decide how big you're gonna make your triangles. We used 4.5. You could use bigger, you could use smaller. I think we decided on 4.5 because I measured the panel top to bottom and decided how
Yeah.
many would fit without having to cut pieces off.
But if you're doing it like this,
Yeah, if you're just doing a regular one, what is it called? One block wonder with one fabric. Yeah, if you're doing it with this kind of thing, you wouldn't have to worry about the panel. You'll just put your rows together. And then your next row, you use the pair and then sew the other way.
remembering to keep those end pieces.
Yep, keep the end pieces because you need those to square off the top and the bottom. I think the Michael Miller one we did with the poinsettias, we had to fill off the sides.
Yeah.
This one, it's easier on the top and the bottom because it's bigger than the Michael Miller one was. Okay, so that's it. That's all there is.
That sounds.
Call us if you have questions. Call us if you have questions. Okay. And then you're just gonna be sewing a whole heck of a lot of half hexagons and pinning them together. If I remember correctly, it took us 2 days to sew all those hexagons together. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we had a lot of hexagons we were sewing together. So you gotta get that done first, and then you can start playing with it. You could make straight sides on all 4 sides because the book will show you how to do that. Or you could do the applique like we did, and we wanted to do the little bit more difficult so that you saw how that would work. And it's playing it by ear. You're just gonna piece it one piece at a time as you add things. Okay, that's it.
It's stepping out of your box.
Yes, we stepped out of the box.
Yeah.
We have half of a box and then we have a woo. All right. We'll get this recording out to you this afternoon. If I can get back in here. There we go.